Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Brandon once again,
And this
and
is Bryce.
and welcome back to another episode of Weekly Robbie, your favorite comic book review show every Friday. Whoa, my collar is weird. Your favorite comic book review show. We take what we read over the past week, break them down, recap, review them, let you guys know our thoughts, and then also talk about some books that are coming out next week and see what we got. Let's zoom out a little bit so not everyone's looking at me or you. And then if you guys are catching the show live, big shout out to you. Leave a comment, leave a question. What did you read this week, and what do you want us to talk about? We have a few people in the chat already. We got Nicole saying you are waiting.
What's up, Nicole? Thanks for waiting on us.
Thank you for waiting. I saw your comment like an hour ago. I was like, oh, cool.
Nice.
And then we got Sheena. How are you doing? Station to you.
Hold on, Sheena.
And then if you guys catch the replay, also make sure you leave a comment below in the comment section letting us know what you read this week. What was your favorite book this week? Or what didn't you like? I think this is the week where you can look at what to take away from your pull list, what to not take away from your pull list.
We can agree to disagree with that on that statement there.
But I think like right now with both industries and even with indie books too, it's like you're kind of in that moment where it's like, do I continue reading this book or do I drop it?
Yeah, there's a lot of books that are getting it that are starting arcs, a lot of books that are ending arcs.
Right. And if you're not a fan of the book, right, it's okay to drop it and give your support elsewhere. You know, as a reader, don't feel obligated to say I have to pick up every single book because I'm missing out. If you want to know what's going on in other books, you can always ask a friend, or you can watch a review show.
Yeah.
Watch
YouTube channels like Comics Explained or Comic Storian, like those are great ways to,
or Comic Pop, they're cool too.
Comic Pop, yeah, those guys really help with like books that I'm not reading.
Right, so, or you can watch Comics Kings. You know, that's really it. You eat, sleep, wake up, eat breakfast, and watch Comics Kings. That should be your daily routine. It should be your daily routine.
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly.
Let's jump right into it. Again, if you have to do a comment, just throw it in the chat. We're going to start off with Action Comics. This is number 1030. This is by Philip Kennedy Johnson. It will be on the show at the end of May. And art is by Daniel Stampri. This is... So where we left off is Mongol was being introduced. So now we're seeing what's going on with Warworld and what is going on with his character. Okay, so some dude comes in. He's like, I'm going to do you a favor, and I'm just going to take away everyone in chains. As a to you, Mongol. Mongol's like, ooh, I like this. Right? And then he tries with that Mongol. Mongol's like, yeah, no, screw you. And he like drops off the heads of like all of these people.
Yeah, this book starts off brutal.
Yeah, this like Mongol, and I'm like, I love it because Daniel Warren Johnson is so good at writing gruesome stuff in comics. I don't know if you guys have checked out a lot of his indie work, but it felt very good, you know, to kind of bring that from Mongol, especially because the previous writer of who did Mongol, Brian Michael Bendis, wrote him like a pushover. So to speak.
So, with every issue of PKJ's run that I'm reading, I'm glad I skipped the Bendis stuff, honestly.
Right. And so this scavenger is offering Mongol a gift, and Mongol is saying, oh, what's the gift? And he's like, well, I know how to find it. And it's something that Mongol has been searching for a very long time. So he tells him, he's like, well, you need someone to unlock it. And that person is Superman, who is drawn perfect book. I just want to point out how perfect Superman is drawn. I mean, that's just like the first panel, and it's absolutely
like this is when we're first introduced to Superman, which Daniel Stampri, God bless you.
Right. And so right now, Captain Atom, it's just Atom. It's just Atom.
It's just the Atom, yeah.
It's just Atom. Atom and Batman, they're kind of running tests on Superman's powers. Meanwhile, his powers are like, they're kind of still there, you know, but there's still stuff going on with Superman with everything from the alien invasion. If you guys did not know what happened, just check out Superman 29 Action Comics 1029. And so we're just we're dealing with that. We're kind of dealing with that treatment. Meanwhile, the best part of this book is Damian and John.
Oh, 100%.
Talking. So in continuity right now, we're gonna get into this as the show goes on. Is Damian is not in Gotham, he's not Robin anymore. He's just out being himself with his mother. So he's kind of talking with John, and they're kind of catching up. And I don't think that they are really used to each other being different ages. And I thought these moments were a lot of fun. I don't want to spoil the moments for you because I think this was the highlight of this book, but it was a very fun moment. It was a very fun moment.
Oh, 100%. You could really tell that, yes, they're Superman and Robin, but they're just, at the end of the day, they're just Damian and John. They're two friends hanging out, eating lunch on a roof.
Right. And that was really it. And Superman and Lois have their own moment. So the one thing that has been lacking in this story by Philip Kennedy Johnson were the different moments outside of Superman and John. And we're finally getting that. And then Mongol shows up with his alien invasion. And I thought that was so cool because it's like everything happening and then John and Superman are fighting it, and that's where we're left off. And we got a Kalon Sales.
What's going on? How you doing?
And then we got John. What's going on, John? John was recently on Hall of Fame, Hall of Shame. I was recently on his X-Men show, 124. We talked about with our Kate. So definitely give John a sub. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, the way this book ends is extremely interesting too, with stuff going forward. Right. I don't want to spoil it, but it definitely sets up a whole different dynamic going forward with Superman with what he thought he was.
Right. And once again, guys, if you're not a fan of John being aged up, you can do exactly what John says and read Superman, read Super Sons. If Super Sons can outsell any book where John is aged up, DC will listen to you once it affects their money. So, buy Super Sons. Even though we're not talking about it today, still buy Super Sons. It is a fantastic book. Also, this Superman story hints at a new Kryptonian being alive. There's a new Kryptonian who escaped Krypton at the time where it blew up, which I think is cool because now this is kind of giving Superman, again, something to learn.
That's what I was saying. Like, Superman always thought he was the last Kryptonian, that he had to carry on his legacy almost single-handedly. Him and John, pretty much.
Right, and I think that puts a lot of pressure on John. Seeing like this Kryptonian working for Mongol it's concerning, but I think Superman's like gonna try to pull like a Peter Parker and help them out as long as he possibly can. So I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like Kenny John's been doing a lot of great things on Superman. The fact that he's writing this in Alien is showing off his talent a lot. If you want to decide which book is better, Action Comics or Alien, I'm going to Action Comics, 100%.
See, okay, so I think the books like Action Comics and Alien will turn into two totally different things once he's done writing Superman. Like the Superman title. And he's like, okay, so I can tell this Alien story over here, and then my Superman story will just be in Action Comics. So it's not like I'm having to split my time between the two and I'm having to borrow ideas from other series that I'm writing.
Right, and I think he was really running through. I think that's why like some of the issues fell a little flat lately. But definitely up on Action Comics. It's a lot of fun. I know a lot of people are not reading the Superman run because they've never heard of Philip Kennedy Johnson. But give it a shot. He has he has a lot of things to say about Superman.
And familiarize yourself with him too, because he has some great work at Marvel and DC.
100%, 100%. Bryce, what did you read this week?
Well, I read Detective Comics 1035 by, who was this by? Mariko Tamaki, Dan Mora, and Jordi Belair doing the colors. And there was a Huntress backup story by Mariko Tamaki that was actually pretty good. But so we start out with the immediate aftermath of Sarah Worth's death from the last issue. If you remember Sarah Worth, her family is basically, if the Waynes built half of Gotham, the Worths built the other half. And so you deal with the aftermath of her apparent disappearance, but we know from the last issue that she's dead. And we see Bruce in one of his bat caves trying to figure out what's going on. Meanwhile, there's a meeting in the mayor's office where the mayor is basically finding out that Sarah Worth is missing, and that's bad news for him. That is extremely bad news for him.
Right. He's very pissed.
Oh, very, very. And so you see Batman, he stumbles upon Sarah's body, and from there, it's basically Batman on the run because the GCPD shows up, he sees Batman standing in front of the body, and now he's the prime suspect. So not only do we get to see Batman being a detective in this issue, in Detective Comics, which is ultimately what it should be, but we see Batman almost as a fugitive, which I always like.
Right, and we also see, like, okay, Mayor Nakano doesn't left in the first place, and this is not helping Batman's case at all.
Yeah, they're leaning heavily into this magistrate stuff, and Nakano is going to be one of the catalysts for that, for sure.
Right. They're definitely using this guy more than they use any mayor in Gotham, other than, like, when Penguin was mayor for a very brief time. I honestly don't remember, in my time reading Batman, a mayor being this important. So that's obviously for a purpose. They remind you Batman is broken. He needs to set up these tunnels in order to be Batman.
Which you really see a lot more the mayor in Detective Comics so far than you are the main Batman title.
A lot in the last one, in the recent Batman issue by Tinian.
True. But we see Batman on the run from the GCPD in the sewer. He ends up escaping, and we find out that Batman is the prime suspect for Sarah Worth's murder.
Right.
And so we flash to a funeral for Sarah. Bruce Wayne is there in attendance. You see Sarah's father get up and basically just yell at everyone, saying that he is going to have his vengeance.
And he's rich.
He is rich. He's very rich.
And you can just tell by the way he's drawn that this guy is, like, a very important player in Gotham, like, in their economic stuff. Like, kind of not, I don't want to say in the level that Wayne Industries had past tense, because he's broke and they want you to know that. But this guy is like the new Wayne Industries, or like he's like the head of the new Wayne Industries. You can just tell by his necktie and his vest.
Well, the way he's drawn, for sure, and I like, correct me if I'm wrong with this comparison, but the way he's drawn and like his stature and the way he takes up and the entirety of every panel he's in reminds me of Wilson Fisk a lot.
Yeah, I think he's more of an angry Wilson Fisk. I think he's a very angry. Wilson has always been really calm in a public setting.
He can hide his emotions well. Yeah, this guy can't.
I don't think this guy has experience at all.
No.
That's just because he may be new.
But that's just what it kind of reminded me of. So that could play a factor going forward if they do decide to go the Kingpin route. Almost like a You Hurt Vanessa type route.
Right.
But
Vanessa.
From there, we see Sarah's partner, Sam Turn. He spoke at the funeral, and then he just kind of ran. And so Bruce is following him, trying to figure out where he's going.
Well, Batman.
And then Bruce starts falling out, and then Batman shows up.
Right.
And Sam just snaps.
Right.
He just snaps. Like, he ends up going crazy. Batman has to subdue him.
Right.
And then we
you guys noticed that little cameo of Huntress, like, in the background. It's like, oh, she's coming. She's coming in this book.
Yeah. I didn't even.
A whole lot of fun. Like, in the background of where the funeral was, Huntress is just there lurking. I'm like, that's cool.
Which explains why Tamaki wrote the backup story too, because they're probably going to end up coming together at one point.
Right, and I don't know if I want that to happen, because I just want Huntress to do what she's doing in the backup story. You know, I really, oh, hey, Asante Samuel Jr. is off the board. I just got an alert on my phone. By the way, if you guys are watching the draft and not this show, you're doing it wrong. Your team is going to draft once. Tune in that one time and don't do it again.
I don't even want to talk about the NFL draft right now. I'm a Packers fan. They ticked me off last night.
And they're ticking you off with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, bless. I already had to go through that as a Bengals fan with Carson Palmer when I was a kid.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, Sam just snaps, and then it automatically flashes back to the mayor's office, and we see that dude Neil, which we know that Neil dude killed Sarah, but they don't know that yet.
Nobody.
And it was really interesting because it's almost like it wasn't him that killed. Like something is taking over his head. I can't tell what that is. It's like a bug type thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not well enough versed in Batman to know what that is automatically, but something is taking over him, essentially.
I think it's a kindred thing.
A kindred. The only thing I could think of would be Scarecrow, but Scarecrow doesn't really work like that.
You know, I think this is something new that Tomato's trying to do.
Which is awesome. Which is awesome.
I enjoy the backup story very much.
Which this could honestly play a factor in the end of the book. So we see him just kind of doing his thing, and then we see Huntress show up again on a page, stopping a apparent rapist.
Yes.
I hesitate to jump to that, but that's what it looks like.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what it's implied, especially after reading the backup story.
The backup story, yeah.
That's essentially what
maybe that's the guy from the backup story.
I don't think so.
I don't know, but
I think the guy was a little heavier. That's not what the lady was drawn to look like. But
anyway, but that's just a one-page thing, basically telling us that Huntress is going to be coming into this book at one point,
right?
Maybe for an arc, maybe longer. I'm not sure. But we get to where they've got Sam locked up in a holding cell to kind of subdue him. You can tell he's still kind of lost it. I think something like, I don't know. It was interesting where Neil was set off and Sam was set off at the same time. So maybe there's a connection there.
Right. I don't think there really is a connection between Huntress and Batman going on right now. I think Huntress is like dealing with her own stuff, and it just happens to collide with what Batman is doing at that time. And I think it's like a cool way to bring her in, you know? As much
Huntress
as
miniseries.
Huh?
I said Huntress miniseries.
Flash, fix my hair. Haircut is coming in 2 weeks.
I will not fix my hair. Haircut might be coming at the end of May.
And yeah, Bill is amazing. We will
talk about that. Yeah.
But
yeah, basically at the end of it, we see Batman going up to his house, and we get a zombie, straight up zombie.
And I thought that was cool. You know, we're bringing some horror into Batman.
I loved that. Absolutely. You get like the Scarecrow, you get like the jump scare horror in the Batman title, and then you get zombie horror and detective.
Right. And I thought that's a lot of fun, because now Batman is like kind of getting dark as it can be for Infinite Frontier.
Oh yeah. 100%. And do we want to
glad Bryce
Yes. I posted a review today on my Instagram page about the first 2 trades of Something Is Killing the Children. It was basically 4 minutes of me gushing about that book.
It's a lot of fun. That book is amazing.
It is a lot of fun.
I'm glad that you got to read it.
Dude, me too. I'm excited.
But the backup story was very powerful. I just want to talk about that briefly. It is something that has never been brought to the table of Gotham. And again, I don't want to spoil. I'm not going to spoil this for you guys. I'm just going to kind of run down what's going on. You know, I'll kind of give you a run in. So Huntress is dealing with this lady who has attachment issues, and she's always outside, and Huntress like, it's not safe. But she's like, it's safer for me out here than it is with the person who I live with.
Yeah.
Who has been abusing her. And to me, this was a big eye-opener. Because like, this is a cool take in Gotham, you know, and it speaks to a very real problem, because a lot of times people go out, right? Because even like now, you hear people saying, don't go out at dark, right? Even today. If you can go outside, like there are some neighborhoods avoid because it's not safe. Well, sometimes that is safer than what's actually going on in their home life. So this is like kind of an eye opener, right? To how how scary like people's home lives can be. And as Huntress is like trying to help this lady, she's getting harassed and she's very attached to her cat. But it's just cool, right? Because it's like this has never been brought to Gotham. Was what if someone's home life was worse than the threat of what was out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
Which
would love to see them do like a 4 or 6 issue mini with Huntress dealing with this and maybe talking about her arc from that moment.
right, and it was very powerful for Huntress to kind of realize that because she was like, "Oh, I didn't think about it that way." Like it's just something that as
Especially with
people,
the ending.
right, even as people, we don't even realize ourselves is what can someone else's home life look like? What if they're out and about because their home life, or what if they're like going to the grocery store for like or staying at work for an extra hour, right?
Yeah.
Just little times like I don't want to say it's cool, but it's an eye opener. It's something very important, and Tamaki has a lot of things to say, and the way she's weaving it into a character like Huntress is really
Yeah.
cool. It's very fascinating that this has been brought. I would definitely recommend reading it just for that backup story, even if you're not connected to Huntress. I think it's a story that everyone can kind of just appreciate the power that it holds in just 10 pages.
I think this is probably this or Ron V's Justice League Dark has been the best backup story we've gotten from DC so far.
Right, right. And honestly, take the time to read this backup story. If
Absolutely.
like Justice League Dark, you can find somewhere else,
Yeah.
probably, but you're not going to find another story like that, like what we just read. But
100%.
the comic said Beta Ray Bill's amazing, so let's segue right into that. Let's talk about Beta Ray Bill #2. This is written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson. Art, or not art, but the colors is by Mike Spicer, and this team is fantastic. Check out their Wonder Woman and Earth.
Absolutely.
So Beta Ray Bill has left. He's left Asgard because he wants to go back to his humanoid form, and this is also tying into what we saw happen in the recent Thor issue. Okay. Flebs didn't even get the 125. No, because I got the 1 in 25 of the first one, and I got the David Warren Johnson exclusive for the first one, and this one I just want to pick up to read. I didn't really care.
I'm broke.
I don't really care. You know, there are some. Here's my biggest thing about covers is if there's a cool cover out there, I'll be like, yeah, and I have the extra bucks. I'll be like, yeah, I got it.
Oh
But
yeah.
my main point of buying the book is to open it, not to.
And I would much rather buy like trades than ratio variants.
You know, like at least you're getting content out there. But ratio variants are cool. You know, I have 4 covers of the first issue, and I don't usually do that. As a collector, it's very hard for me to even bring myself to do it. The fact that it's Beta Ray Bill is like I'm suckering for it.
Well, I have issues 1 through 3, 1 in 10s for crossover,
Right.
along with the A covers. Like if it's a series I love, then I'll do it.
Right. And this Beta Ray Bill book is fantastic because we're getting a lot of learning about the history of Beta Ray Bill, especially seeing Thor Ragnarok and seeing how that works, is very similar to Beta Ray Bill's backstory. Okay. Yeah. Again, you always buy cover A and then the ratios for 7. You know, I mean,
There you go.
I mean that's a cool way to do it. For me, that's not my thing as a collector. So to each their own. We got Shamar in here, station for you,
What's up, tomorrow?
So in this story, right? So Scuttlebutt lets Beta Ray Bill know about something that's happening and we find out Scourge is going to be part of this story, which is fun because Scourge is so unapologetically himself, right? So
Absolutely.
So they go to this bar because they're trying to find Odin, and they just like walk in, and they're just like pissed off, right, at everything going on in that bar, right? Scourge is throwing down with people, and then Odin walks in.
3 pages in, there's a straight up bar fight.
Yeah, there's a bar fight, so it's like cool. This is what I want. Cool, great. A bar fight with Scourge and Beta Ray. So, Odin comes in with a giant keg. And he's like, okay, where are these assholes? And they're like, oh, we're here.
Yeah.
So they're talking, and Beta Ray Bill's like, you started this. Why are you taking this away from me? Like, why can't you just make another one? And it's like, well, don't you see me? I'm old as shit. I'm not the king. But I can give you the alternative, which is going to, I'm gonna butcher this. Muspelheim?
What is it? Muspelheim.
Muspelheim, right? And that is where Surtur resides, who is responsible for Thor Ragnarok. He's also responsible for Beta Ray Bill's backstory because he was chosen by his people to protect them. Surtur destroyed his people. But because Surtur was able to do all this and he was able to turn himself and reconfigure himself using the weapon that he did, the whole premise is if Beta Ray Bill goes there, right, he can use the same power to turn him back into his humanoid form, which is his whole mission. This is like his story. This is where we're going with him. So it's cool. You also get Beta Ray Bill wearing a rock and roll heavy metal shirt. It's just fun because I know Danny Warren John's a huge fan of that. So I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
Just
one thing I will say, this entire miniseries happened because a girl didn't like him. A girl thought he was ugly.
Right.
He got rejected, and then he goes on this big quest.
Right, and it's like that's a good word. It's like his quest. You know, it's almost kind of like Lord of the Rings.
He basically goes on a quest for Excalibur.
Yeah. Beta Ray Bill puts on his war outfit and they have to go through this portal that was set up by Odin, and it's almost impossible to get there because Odin wants to trap. He doesn't want Surtur to go anywhere, so he's making it so it's like a one-way trip. Well, they're so determined to go, and Scourge is there for the way, and we all see Pip joining in because Pip is like, well, you don't like. He's like, I want to see you love yourself so that I can do my best. And I was like, that's so cool. Just show Pip love and Beta Ray Bill love.
Absolutely.
Can
we talk about some of the art in this book?
Yeah, the art was fantastic. I mean, I can talk about the God of War scenes, or we're not talking about that. Well, I don't want to spoil people's enjoyment of that. You know, I feel like talking about the plot of a book is different than taking away someone's experience of the book.
That's fair. That's fair. God of War series, I forgot about that. I'm a huge God of War fan. I'll need to read that, but no, we're not talking about that tonight.
No, but I don't. But there were like a lot of like God of War traits in the story. So,
yeah.
Daniel Warren Johnson's story is a very quiet pace. Also, Scuttlebutt was malfunctioned, so like it boots back up into like a Jocasta type thing. Like, and that's cool because Scuttlebutt's now like a robot, kind of like, or an android. An android's a better way to put it. And that's really cool. You know, this book is a lot of fun. And
absolutely.
It's Beta Ray Bill, so he's a character that could possibly appear in the MCU if you're in it for spec. If you're in it for a very good read, this is the book to read. It's bombastic. It's everything you want.
This book has me want to go back and read the Simonson stuff now.
Right. So I can't give this book enough praise. It's fantastic. I think that and Daredevil are probably my two favorite books in Marvel right now, other than like X-Men by Hickman. But
I could definitely.
If I had a list topic, that would be it 100%.
Yeah, I mean, as far as story goes, just sheer plot and character building, this is topping Thor in that regard. Now, Thor is definitely a more action-packed and a more bombastic, fun read, but this is a great character series.
Right, and Flash, your whole username is Flashpoint Comics, and you're not reading any DC.
I don't know what to believe anymore.
Are you really a Flash fan?
Read Action Comics and Detective Comics.
Yeah, they're fun. Also, read Robin. It's a cool book. Not really.
We're going to talk about that.
Not fun at all.
Not fun at all?
It was fine, I guess. It was okay. I liked the art. The story, the plot's good. The plot's cool. But a lot of Williamson's dialogue really didn't do it for me. It just is no. I didn't enjoy his dialogue and his depiction of everything going on. And for someone who's known for his character moments in The Flash, this was a real letdown. It was a love-hate book. It's like I love what's going on in it, but you could have done so much better with your word choice.
Okay, now we're going to talk about why you're wrong.
Whoa!
No, okay. Brent, I can see where you're coming from. Personally, I really enjoyed this book. It's not the best character book out there. This is honestly the complete opposite of Beta Ray Bill. Like, this book is all action, all Chamorro.
Civil War, yeah. Me versus the hillbilly. Who wins? You and a hillbilly throw down in a boxing ring. Who's Jake
Hey.
Paul? Ben Askren.
Hey, comment below. Team Hillbilly or Team King? Nah. But no, I really enjoyed this book, especially after reading something like Beta Ray Bill. This is all I could have asked for. Where Batman was definitely okay. Maybe it was the order in which I read it, but where I've read a ton of character books and then seeing something with Damian just annihilating everybody and just having like I don't know.
He's in his playground. And I get it. You're in your playground.
Pretty much. Like, he was a born fighter, and this is Damian fighting. Like, this is Damian. Ryan is coming from outside with a chair.
You know, Ryan
leaves with the,
you know what? Ryan is actually on my side with this story.
Ryan, if we're going Civil War, Ryan is basically Black Panther. And
no. Ben Askren.
Oh man. But yeah, this is Damian in his element. And while some of the dialogue was a little questionable at times, like I said, I don't think it's a perfect book. But while some of the dialogue was questionable at times, this is all I could have wanted from a Robin book, especially given what we got in the backup stories, knowing that it was basically going to be Mortal Kombat with Damian Wayne.
Yeah.
And it delivered, I think, with what it promised.
With what it promised, yeah, but here I'm thinking Peter Tomasi was the one who began Damian's adventures after Morrison, right? And then in Detective Comics, he expanded Damian's role, and for him to not be on this book, I feel like is not doing Tomasi a chance to finish his story. What's going on, Rod?
What's going on, Rod?
Be sure to tune in to Coast to Coast tomorrow on Rod's channel at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Come hang with the fam. But that Warner Brothers corporate synergy.
Warner Brothers corporate synergy.
I don't think it did, because it was a different feel for Damian. You know, it almost felt like very foreign. It literally felt like a different story, but picked off where someone else left off. You know, that's my biggest gripe is why didn't you let Peter Tomasi finish telling his story, especially if we're going that route? And he is the best dialogue.
Yeah, I agree with that. But with what we were given, which I'm not going to break it down because there's not a whole lot to break down. It's basically Damian in a bunch of fights.
Yeah, that's it.
But that's what I was promised. That's what I was looking forward to, and so that's what I'm happy with.
And then I think it was cool because the battle inside of Damian is, who do I choose, my mom or my dad? Which rules do I follow? And in this kind of fight, in his last fight, it was very prevalent of the fact that he wants to kill, but he's always held back because of Bruce, right? Taught him since like he started being Robin, you can't kill, and he really wants to, and he holds back, and he's like, damn, you know. So I think this is like it's like turmoil inside of Damian, and I would like that to show a little bit more. As a reader, you can understand it,
which maybe it will in the we still got 5 issues left of this series,
right? So maybe it can turn it around. It can turn it around, but for me, it's not a book that I'm super excited to be reading week by week.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I agree that Robin does get the Hall of Fame. I don't think it's first ballot.
I think it's at the end of my list.
I think it's maybe
Titans. It beats Teen Titans, which is which I kind of want to segue right into. This is by Tim Sheridan, artist by Rafa Sandoval, and this is, if you thought you were going to be getting a book that centers around all the Titans and doing everything, or a story about what it's like to teach at the academy, or what it's like for the students to kind of grow, you didn't get any of it. So it's nothing that I want. So the whole premise is Nightwing reacting to Red X and Nightwing sleeping with Starfire. And DC, this book has really showed that DC just does not care about anything they're doing in continuity. While Tom Tyler is writing a constructive Nightwing story with Barbara's there, this is playing off the relationship of Dick having another bad haircut. Also, Dick sleeping with Starfire, which is something from the new Teen Titans book you could have admit was fun while it lasted. But
yeah,
there are so many moments that Tim Sheridan could have achieved. And I said this when I started reading this book in the first place. Teen Titans is already such a big cast. So the fact that you're merging the Teen Titans, and then the new kids is very hard on Brian Michael Bendis, who loves writing big casts. Even if you put Bendis in the book, you put Grant Morrison, I think all of them would have the same difficulty. And this shows that Tim Sheridan has never handled a book of that size, or even like a team of 7. So you're getting more Nightwing, and you're getting more of him reacting to Red X. If you're a fan of the TV show, great. This should be a Red X miniseries. But it's not. And for that reason, act like Shark Tank, I'm out. I'm out.
You did that. That was nice.
I don't.
As someone who grew up with the TV show, I still had a lot of fun with this.
Great.
I thought, it's a straight up mystery book right now. Honestly,
I don't find myself caring. I would much rather read more about how the Titans are adults, like Raven, like having Raven going through something, or Beast Boy.
Yeah.
Playing off like Cyborg had some fun moments. Let's just keep that going.
Definitely. Now, okay, if you wanted to keep this book going, one thing I would suggest is bringing back the Titans book.
Yeah.
With the original cast.
Please.
And then in that case, honestly, I would probably drop this for that book. Because other than the Red X stuff and the fact that I'm getting my Teen Titans, I would agree. I have fun with this because of what it is.
Right, and that's okay. That's for you. I know you really enjoy the Teen Titans show, and I know there's a lot of people out there who enjoy the Teen Titans show. And with Red X and everything, for me, I never watched it, so I'm not going to pretend like I know everything about Red X, because I don't. This is a learning experience for that part of Teen Titans lore for me, but also they're not doing what the book I thought intended for, right? You look at Strange Academy, and the professors are getting their moments, the students are getting their moments. Right, you had Loki showing up to be someone's parent as like a guest parent, and something that's like really fun. I'm like, that's cool, because
shoot, I gotta read that book now.
Yeah, and that's what it's like. Kind of, I don't want it to be the same thing, but like the same kind of moment. So like a similar kind of moment for the older DC characters to get their payoffs as mature adults, and for like the middle class, you have your teenagers. You got Crush, you got Wallace, who barely got any screen time. I would say he got like the Ray Fisher treatment of the original Joss Whedon cut.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really seen much of Wallace since Josh Williamson's Flash run.
You haven't seen a lot of the people that you have in this book. So again,
which one thing I will say, I really enjoyed the moments between Cyborg and Matt.
Right, that was it.
That was awesome.
I'm sorry, I don't care about the Teen Titans, about the Red X mystery. I don't care. I'm out. I don't care. I'm sorry. And I agree with tomorrow. 100%. I will not be picking up this book going forward. You can let me know if I'm talking about Red X, and I'll be there.
I get it. I'm going to stick with it just to see what they do with this first arc, but I could see myself dropping it eventually.
Yeah.
It was definitely the weakest book I read this week. 100%.
Yeah. The art's fun, but
the art's great. Rafa Sandoval is awesome.
Right. There's a lot of thought put into this book. And I'm not taking that away from him, because this is what he wants to tell. There's a lot of thought going into this mystery, but it's not my mystery. That's just it. It's not a bad book. It's not a bad book, I'm not going to shit on this book like I do ASM and say, this is a bad book, don't pick it up. I understand why people would like it. It's just I don't.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing. If you're like Brandon and you don't care about Red X or you don't care about like the animated series or anything, because this should basically be a Teen Titans Adventures book, like the whole Adventures line where they take the animated series. That's what this should be.
Yeah, this should be Teen Titans Adventures, not Teen Titans Academy. And I would like, and I know this isn't a Teen Titans book where you're going to focus around the main team, but the fact that it is focused around the main team, I would like there to be more of them.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to pull back on them, bring in the new ones and tell us where they're going and how they're doing with school and how they're doing with their adventures, not this.
Which you're getting a lot of that with Matt, and then what was the girl's name? The speedster.
Oh, I don't care.
It was something weird, but I thought that was really cool, especially giving like I love seeing, and I love seeing disabled characters get a spotlight.
Yeah, that was fun. But I at the end of the day, I don't care.
But yeah, if you're like me, give this book a shot. See what you think about it. If you have nostalgia like I do for the Red X character, give it a shot. But if you're like Brandon, it's not going to be for you. You probably won't like it.
Right. And before we get into X-Men, which is a lot of fun this week, Bryce has a book to talk about.
I do. And a book that honestly surprised me.
Yes.
Berserker, #2 by Keanu Reeves with Matt Kent, art by Ron Garney, and colors by Bill Crabtree. This is basically the origin of Berserker. And we learn how and why he is this immortal
John Wick.
Yeah, immortal. Why is this Wolverine John Wick hybrid?
The immortal John Wick.
The immortal John Wick. Yes.
Also, this is being audited for a Netflix show, so if they can keep the same themes, John saying, I think I'll pass on Teen Titans Academy after they Nightwing say he won't be in the comic much, and since he has to be in Bloodhaven instead of teaching at the Tower. I agree. The fact that Nightwing was in this book and was sleeping with Starfire is like, screw you.
That would be something to push me off that book too. But I'll see what that, like, Cyborg is a favorite of mine, so if they give him or Starfire the head role, I'll see where that goes.
Maybe if season 2 continues to flop, they'll get their views up by promoting other series. But
maybe there'll be a plug in Nightwing, like, hey, if you want to know what happens here, read Teen Titans Academy.
Yeah, maybe like Nightwing showing up in like the Captain America kind of like detention scene or detention TV thing. So you messed up again. You didn't read Teen Titans. I can see that.
Oh man. But yeah, so we start out in the therapy session. Are we breaking this one down, or we just want to talk about it?
It's up to you.
You know what? I'll just talk about it because, like the first one, we kind of knew exactly what we were getting. I wasn't expecting as much story as we got with this one, and honestly, that's something I kind of want everybody to experience firsthand because it is a really interesting origin story.
It's cool, and I guarantee you everyone's buying this book.
Fair enough. All right, let's get into it. So we start off with different writers.
DC doesn't care about their timelines and editorial sides. That's why. Welcome to DC Editorial, Chamorro. You told me many times you're a new reader. This is your first experience with DC Editorial.
Yeah. So we start off with basically a backstory. B is telling the therapist character about what his town was like before he was born and how they were nomads and they would basically get raided a few times a year, and how his parents were basically like, we need to pray to the gods for a weapon. And so they go into this cave, they pray for the weapon, and the gods give them the weapon, just not in the way that they thought.
Yeah.
Lightning impregnates her.
Yep. And you got a sweet baby Jesus moment. If that's how it works.
I mean, yeah, kind of.
You got a sweet baby Jesus moment.
Kind of, yeah.
But it was John Wick.
We've known ever since The Matrix that Keanu Reeves is not going to shy away from religious parallels.
I just found that to be so funny. She's like, oh, and there he is. He's playing with fire as like an 8-year-old. And it was also, you got a little mix of Conan in there. If you got there any fans in there. I think John Wick is going to be definitely loving, or not John Wick. What's his name? Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves, yeah.
The Conan.
What about Neo?
Huh?
What about Neo? The Matrix. Come on, man.
I never saw The Matrix. Oh, I'm going to have everyone
blast this dude. Blast this dude.
And I got Chamorro, who I know is a big movie geek, and I know John's a big movie geek, and I know you're a big movie geek. And the only one to back me up is Flash. I'm screwed.
Okay. That's going to be your homework after the show. So I'm pretty sure it's either on Netflix or HBO Max.
I'm watching Aliens after the show. I'm watching Invincible after this show, and then Aliens, and I'm going to bed.
Boot him. Boot him.
I'm making him a moderator.
Wow, I'm not even one. So basically, she wakes up the next day pregnant. She gives birth to the baby, and the village people aren't convinced. Like, this dude's just a kid. And then he proves that he's different. He starts killing all these animals. And this is where it gets brutal, because you see children eating the hearts of animals. Oh, that's Keanu Reeves if I've ever seen it.
Yeah. Yep. Boom!
Okay, The Matrix is just like, The Matrix is a sci-fi revolutionary. It's like the stuff before The Matrix had not been done, and then everything after The Matrix was trying to copy The Matrix.
Hey, Bryce, have you ever heard of James Harrison? Oh, wait, as a Bengals fan, James Harrison. This is what he did to your team in this bottom panel.
Yeah.
But anyway. Hey, we got Justin here.
What's up, Justin?
Justin reads a lot of books, so I'm sure he'll love to comment what he read this week.
Wait, no, did you say I was a Bengals fan? I'm not a Bengals fan.
You're a Bengals and Packers fan.
I mean, my dad's a Bengals fan, so I follow him a little bit. But still.
He still did it to your dad. Not listen.
He's basically going through his origin and how he never feels fear when he's fighting.
Right.
And that was 80,000 years ago.
Right.
And so it takes him through the years of them performing tests on him just to see what he is and how. Read everything. I aspire to be like that man.
Yep, I feel you, John. I try to read everything. I try to read everything in the big two.
That is Justin, good sir.
And shout out Dr. Jim. Yeah, I read the first issue and I loved it. It's just I haven't added it to my poll. I don't know why I haven't. I'm a few issues behind. I was just gonna pick it up in trade. I think that's a story.
That's probably what I'll do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a story that's very similar to March and telling a true story. I don't know if you ever read March by John Lewis, but I'm going to be reading that in trade. Also, Justin, Chamorro got there before you, so I believe he's on your left right now.
Oh, wow.
He's on your left.
So we flash back, we see the raid, we see Berserkers stop them, and he basically goes nuts.
What are you watching? What are you watching, bro?
Not that kind of show.
This is a PG-13.
It is a family show.
Oh, you hit him in Trav's chat. Yeah, Travis is live too. I know he has a bunch of people over there, so I don't blame you for bouncing back and forth.
Bounce back and forth, go 2 screens. Hey. We won't care. Travis is a good dude. I'd be watching him right now if I weren't doing this.
Exactly. I would watch Travis too. peeping.
And then we basically see that he says that when he fought and when he took down those raiders was the last time he ever felt happy.
Right.
And so that really says a lot about the character. How over the course of 80,000 years, he was made to be a weapon, and when he's fighting is the only time he feels happy.
Right. And then we also got a preview of Basilisk, which is a new book written by Cullen Bunn. Ours by
Which looked really interesting.
Jonas Schrabb, and it looked cool. I was like, wow. Cullen Bunn is doing something different with his indies. So I am going to be buying that. I'm going to be checking it out. I'll give it an issue.
I'm going to be giving the first issue a shot.
I'm going to be getting that first issue for sure. Berserker is a book probably most people are reading. If you're not reading it, then you know someone who's reading it. Very vivid.
Yeah. We're reading it. You know us.
No matter what cover you get, I guarantee you'll be able to get it half the price in a year or so. So I wouldn't overpay because there's so many copies of it. There's like the highest Boom Studios book out there. Not probably it is. So if I were you guys, I wouldn't buy into the hype you're going to be seeing on eBay. Read it for the story, please.
And read it so you know what's going on when it gets put on Netflix, and you can flex on all your friends that are just watching the Netflix.
So, but that's just me. That's just the way that I choose to collect. But if you're going for the ratios, the foil, yeah, foil is cool. I'll give you that.
Now, you want a good foil cover. The Many Deaths of Layla Starr has a David Mack foil.
There you go. Many Deaths of Layla Starr is a great book that we didn't talk about, but it was a lot of fun. Rumby did his best work. Rumby's been fantastic lately. But
probably him and Chip Zdarsky are probably my two favorite writers right now. And Tom Taylor.
Right. See, Justin Sip. See, because Justin reads everything.
Yeah. All right, what you got next?
Tomorrow got it. I want to give a little bit of shout out to New Mutants. It's by Vita Ayala. Art is by Rob Rice, and it's very good. It's very good. So we're dealing with Shadow King kind of taking. So the New Mutants are tasked with training the next generation of mutants. So we have the New Mutants training what I call the newer mutants. And some of them went to Otherworld because their faith in these new mutants are not there. And then some went to the Shadow King, who's been playing with like split personality stuff. So we're getting pretty trippy. And Shadow King goes to Wolfspan Ron, who's like the queen of that. Okay, so I thought that was really cool, but Shadow King is also, he wants the best for his people. So he's like kind of playing more of an apocalypse role. He's doing the wrong things for the right reasons. God damn it, why did the Steelers draft a tight end? They need O-line. What the hell?
Didn't even.
God damn it. Okay, anyway, I'm mad now.
Take a breath.
What the hell? God damn it.
Oh, man, you guys are about to see Brandon unhinged.
God damn it.
Language.
Jesus, Judge. No. Anyway, this book is fantastic.
At least they didn't draft a cornerback when their quarterback's unhappy. In the first round.
You're going backstage. But anyway, so we're dealing with that. Some of the other New Mutants went to Otherworld. Danny Moonstar did. And one other person went to Otherworld to get the other New Mutants. And Danny is able to help out this character in Otherworld. And who's kind of going through something that she went through back in the 80s when she was first created. So it was a lot of fun. The art's fantastic. Vita Ayala is definitely writing their best stories. So make sure you give a look at whatever they're doing. They are writing this book, and then they are also writing Children of the Atom. So Vita Ayala is doing fantastic work. That's gonna be I'm sorry.
So I'm gonna give Children of the Atom a shot. I haven't read a single issue of New Mutants.
It's fun. It could get better. It could be better, but
I think I read New Mutants #1 from the 80s, and that's the only book of theirs that I've ever read.
New Mutants #1 from the 80s is fantastic. It's a great read. Cable number 10. Am I echoing? Because I just heard myself echo.
You were just then, but you're not now.
Okay. Way too many X titles is overwhelming. Not if you're like me. But the thing about the X titles is if you're not into all of them, there's something for you. And so just find your local X-Men fan and ask them what book is for my reading type. And they should be able to help you out if they know a thing or two. So
yeah, which I'm only reading 4 of them, and I'm loving it.
right, but definitely give it a shot if you want to give yourself the time. I think it's time consuming to give X-Men that much attention. I'm doing it. I know that's not for everybody, but if you just want to follow an X title until their event, do so. And then, yeah, that's really all I can ever say about it. Cable
It
number
can get
10.
expensive too, though.
Yeah. Cable number 10 is Cable trying to deal with the fact that Strife is back and he needs to get his old man to defeat Strife. In order to do so, he's trying to talk to his dad. Because he brought his dad back and killed off old Cable. Back in Exterminated, which was written by Jerry Dugan, who's also doing this with Phil Noto. So you're getting a lot of retcons to that. If you didn't read it, fine, you don't need to. But they go and they fight these guys at a bar. And that's because they have nothing better to do. And Cable, at the end of the story, right, you see old man Cable. And it's just fun because you get a moment between Cyclops and his son, right, which is something you never got to have. You just had a lot of fun moments, a lot of good action. And Cyclops does not want the old Cable back just because it's a pain in the ass. But we see old Cable. We know he's coming back. That's the premise, and it's fun. I would say the story is running its course at this point. I'm just reading it so the finale can come and I can self-justify why I bought 13 issue. I mean, it's a good book if you like Nathan Summers. It's fun. I would say it's fun. It's an enjoyable read. Would I say it's my favorite X title? No. If you had to pick one, I wouldn't say this one off the bat, but it's
no, definitely X titles,
but
that I would recommend above a Cable book.
Right. If it's a Cable book, it's what you're getting. It's at face value, right? And Jerry Dugan has a lot more to write now, so I can kind of see why this book is slowly dripping off. But the other X book, the last X book that came out, if you are not digging anything that Krakoa is doing or what Krakoa has to offer, well, you have X-Men Legends that throws you back to its time in comics that you were probably alive for. So in X Factor, the whole premise was introducing Apocalypse, okay? Apocalypse, which led into Age of Apocalypse, okay? Apocalypse did a lot for mutants. He was the first mutant, but he's also doing a lot to take away mutants and evolve them. One of which was kidnapping Archangel back in, I want to say, around the 20th issue of X Factor is really where this plot is exploding from. Because at this point, Angel turned into Archangel under an experiment and control of Apocalypse. In this issue, he has broken free of that. So he's just broken free of that, and he's wreaking havoc on all of them. No pun intended, because Havoc is not in this book. And it's written by the Simmonsons, who were the writers at this time. So this is more of what they have to say about the run. You get a lot of Apocalypse drawn like the X-Men cartoon. I would say this is very similar to. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun, and you get a nice little clear shot of Jean Grey's butt. And yeah,
shoot, if this is gonna be like the cartoon, let me know when they bring. Let me know when they bring Morph in.
Yeah, Apocalypse gets mad at Archangel, so he throws a ship at them, and they have to fight it before it hits them, and they have to defeat it. But Apocalypse is able to upload something into this bot that is able to basically terrorize them. So that's where we're left off, and we're going to deal with that next issue. But you get a lot of classic costumes, and it's a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people. So I know people were very excited for this book. I was excited for it too, and it's fun. It's great.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun book, man. I might have to give it a shot once it either once it wraps up or once the first trade comes out.
Right. And if you did read back in the 80s and 90s, this book is right up your alley. This book's right up your alley. Nothing more, nothing less.
Right. Sweet.
So tomorrow, we're looking for a next title to hop onto.
This one Legends might be a good one.
If you're familiar with the X Factor back in the day, if you did read back in the day, as a kid, but it's a lot of fun.
Alrighty. You ready for the next one?
But yeah, last but not least,
Crossover issue number 6. My personal pick of the week. This book was unbelievable. This is by Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw. Probably one of my favorite creative teams. And if you remember in the last issue, Ryan was getting ready to shoot Ava, the little girl, when her powers kind of started going off a little bit.
Right.
And we open up with Ellie basically saying, like, no, screw you, don't do that.
Right.
And we get a lot of that, and they open this portal. They end up getting into the dome. So we're finally in the dome. And everyone is there. Like, is that, it looks like Omni-Man is there at one point.
Yeah.
Savage Dragon.
Is in there. You got Savage Dragon. You even got a little bit of Spawn in there.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
All the way in the back. And if you're an indie reader from day one, this is hitting home for you. I would say people who are very avid indie readers would know.
Oh, shoot, I just saw something. Saw something on the page. The freaking Ninja Turtles.
Where?
Look near Omni-Man in the shadows.
Oh, no way!
See, that is why you need to read this book. We're discovering stuff right now as we're breaking this down that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just made an appearance in the background of crossover. And
that's cool. What else happened? Where's anything did? Okay.
Zombies from The Walking Dead, of course.
Right.
No sign of Invincible, though. We got Omni-Man, but no sign of Invincible.
We got an Invincible shirt later. We have. Oh, I know that is important. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in this book.
Yeah, this first little bit's basically an action sequence. We get to see Ellie use Valifax a little bit, which if you're like me and a big God Country fan, that was amazing.
I'm still looking at this to see where Deadpool is. If you drew
to see where Deadpool.
I'm sure Rob Liefeld sent him a text that I will give you this amount of money if you put Deadpool in this book.
Which there's some people from Black Hammer in here too, so we're going Dark Horse, IDW, Image, of course.
It's called crossover. I'm just looking for where's Batman or where's Spider-Man? Where's
Spider-Man? Well, hang on. I'm pretty sure I saw the Pope at one point.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, look over at the far right. It's the freaking Pope holding guns.
I almost dropped my book. But yeah, you're getting a lot of cool stuff in here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So we get like a cool zombie sequence. Hit Girl shows up and lines them all out. So that was another cool moment. This is where I'm pretty sure they were like, okay, we haven't had enough character crossovers in a book called Crossover. Let's just do it all this issue.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Okay, no, they're not in the dome yet. Now they're in the dome. For sure.
Right.
We get a little Buzzkill moment.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that was Buzzkill. Looks like Buzzkill. And Otto ends up dying.
Right.
Because I'm sure a lot of people are reading this book too, so I'm not shying away from spoilers. In that encounter with Buzzkill, Otto, the comic store owner, ends up dying, and Ryan has to get Ellie out of there. This is after they've already gotten Ava back. They've done their mission they set out to do on this arc. And so they wake up in a hotel room. Ellie finds out about Otto. She runs into the bathroom where Ryan is trying to basically empathize with her and be like, hey, we're going to find your parents. We're going to go back to Denver because that's where he thinks they're from. And then we get a bombshell at the end where we find out that Ellie's parents aren't from Denver or Earth. Ellie is a comic character.
Ellie is, and where she's from is, I know where we're going next. I don't want to say it, but it's written. I just know I need to read the book. You know you got to read it. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and say it because Chip Zdarsky is writing the next issue of it.
He is.
It's going to be in Stillwater. Okay, so we're going to Stillwater. Cool.
Which is it the same creative team that's on? Like, is Phil Hester doing the art for Stillwater?
Phil Hester is not. It is someone. I forget their name. I know it off the top of my head. Ramon Perez. That's who it is.
Okay, which I can definitely.
It's fun.
Yeah, I mean,
already have my first volume coming in soon, but it's a lot of fun. I might
have to pick it up.
I'm waiting for Saga characters to appear in this.
Saga characters. Oh my gosh! Could you imagine Marco throwing down?
I'm going back to the panel and I'm looking for Marco.
Just look for Marco. Look for Alana. Look for freaking Prince Robot.
I'm looking for a Lion Cat. If that guy's in there, just looking around.
Hey, a Lion Cat. Is that Major X? No, that's not Major X.
That's not Major X. But anyway, let's talk about books that are coming out next week. All right.
Oh, this is a light. But crossover, buy that trade. The trade's coming out soon. If you're not reading this book, buy the trade. You will not
buy the trade. And I can't find it anywhere. I can't find Lion Cat anywhere. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sure all DM Johnny can't say put Lion Cat in here. I'm sure he will. That would be. So I got Batman 108 coming up. Swamp Thing number 3, Terror number 3, Hellions number 11, Marauders number 20, Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters, Alpha number 1, and Change Academy number 10. Oh, and maybe Die in issue 16. I gotta catch up on it. It depends. If I can catch up on it, I'll buy it. If not, I'll keep it in trade.
Yeah, this is a super light week.
Yeah.
Like, I only have 4 books next week, I think. I got Batman 108. I've got Nocterra number 3. Swamp Thing number 3, Firepower number 11, and I think that might be it because I haven't been reading anything else. I don't really feel like jumping on a new series next week unless something really catches my eye.
Right. And yeah, this week's very light.
They're reprinting Thanos Quest, so I might grab that. I don't know yet.
Yeah, read it. I'll get the same experience. But anyway, once again, if you had a replay and you made it this far, big shout out to you guys. You guys are what keep us doing this. If you guys want us to review a book, let us know what's coming out next week. What you're looking forward to as well. What did you read? Did you enjoy it? Thank you. And then a couple things coming out on the show. Bryce and I are going to be sitting down with Michael Conrad. I'm going to plug in a second. On May 8th, I'm going to be sitting down with Mark Anthony Poe talking about Excalibur.
Yo.
On May 12th, which is a Wednesday, me and Bryce and I talking with Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad. Creative team on
Looking forward to that. I still got to read issue 771, but I'm hyped.
And that's going to be a lot of fun. And then I'm going to be with Will Spartasio on the 15th. And then May 22nd, Philip Kennedy Johnson. That is the same day that Aliens number 3 comes out. So be sure to pick it up and read it before the interview.
That's going to be fun.
And I can finally ask him, why did you let Salvador LaRocca draw himself as the main character?
Please don't ask him that.
I'm asking him that.
Oh, man.
I need an answer. I want to know who edited that shit and said, good job.
Good job.
Nothing reformatted.
Brandon is super passionate about Salvador LaRocca on this book.
I don't want to read a freaking series where Salvador LaRocca has put his goddamn face in the book. It's nauseating. When I read a book, if Stan Lee put himself in every single issue of Fantastic Four, I would feel the same way.
Yeah.
Creators should not make characters who look just like themselves as a main protagonist. I understand if you want to cameo yourself. Like Stan and Jack did in 106, that's fun. It gives people something to look for.
Oh my gosh, it's like I got a bone to pick with J.K. Simmons. Like, why he looks just like Omni-Man looks just like J. Jonah Jameson, and that was J.K. Simmons, huh?
Well, and why Ryan Otley couldn't draw James Jonah Jameson in Amazing Spider-Man, but he could draw Nolan in Invincible? There's the same thing.
Yeah.
But anyway,
they're the exact same thing.
Make sure you guys also tune in. What do I have doing? The Hall of Fame, Hall of Shame, coming out Ultimate Spider-Man number 1, both by Bendis. Should be fun. I believe we have a guest. I'll have to confirm with them. And then Tag Team Thursday coming up. I don't know what I'm talking about yet.
It's Christ, not infinite rants. You never know.
You never know. I might go live tomorrow. I know.
There you go.
But I also want to take time to prepare for Caliber. But anyway, Bryce, you have anything fun coming out? Or doing something fun?
Not really. I mean, I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time. I might try to post some more book reviews on my IG page. I know I kind of want to post up 7 Secrets, maybe, or maybe go over some classic material.
There you go. It's a lot of fun.
But yeah,
make sure you guys check it out.
Might try to get a guest lined up, or might try to get you or Peter or somebody lined up to talk with me about a book sometime soon. Who knows? I'm kind of just taking it one day at a time. So yeah, stay tuned and
got you guys. All right,
get some content for you
for tuning in to weekly wrap up. We'll see you guys.
Thank you guys.
Every Friday.
See y'all next week. Have a good one.